How did you initially become a part of the world of Jury Duty Presents Company Retreat?
Well, first of all, I'm a huge fan of the original Jury Duty. And so being part of Company Retreat has just been an absolute dream job. It actually just started with a self tape in my garage on a hot June day, waiting for the leaf blowers to pass, and we had to do like a 2-minute improv scene. And as an actor, you do your work, you send it off, and a few weeks later, I got a call back for a Zoom producer session just to talk through this very unusual callback process that they have for this show.
Sure.
And so the callback was an in-person callback, and it was this wild improv test in a focus group where some people were real actors and some weren't. And you had to walk in from the minute you walked in the building in character. And they gave you a few certain traits and things you had to do as your character. And so it was so much fun because I felt it was so freeing. I was going over where they had like a little waiting room to this snack area, and I'd grab a snack, but then I would straighten everything up and make it look a certain way, and I knew cameras were on us. I had brought apples with lime on them. That's sort of a thing that I naturally do. I don't know if you know, but if you squeeze lime on apples, they won't get brown as you're traveling around the city. So I was like handing them out. I was offering them to people and just as a way to engage and stuff. And then at the end, I had stopped at Bristol Farms before the audition. And for the ride home, I had brought this shredded chicken, but it was still, had the seal around it. And at the very end of this whole focus group, they're like, well, thanks, that's it. And everyone was driving home, and I like just brought it out of my purse. I'm like, does anyone want some shredded chicken? I haven't even opened it yet. And I like pulled the seal off. So anyway, I apparently, all of that got me the job. It was delivering under pressure. It was, it wasn't just handing out food, but it was being a team player. I realized, I mean, you'd have to ask the producers why, but as I look back, it was just being immersed in this situation, being a team player, and and then I went to pick up my kids at junior lifeguards, and a month later I got the job. So it was it's wild to even just be at this moment of it's out and people love it and all the things. Yeah.
What kind of breakdown were you sort of given then about Elizabeth Prescott, and how much freedom then did you have to craft her into your own?
Yeah, she was described sort of as stern and icy and corporate. And I knew, to me, I wanted her to have depth and humanity. So, because no one is just one note, right? She might be seemed that way. She might seem icy in one setting, but then she might have a dog or kids or whatever. Like, you don't know. It's not just all one note. So I knew that even though maybe they might see her as a menace in this scenario, that she was coming in and thinking of herself as a mentor. Like, she's here to elevate everything. This is, when you're the villain, you think all your ideas are a great idea. You're not thinking you're a bad guy. I think I'm a good guy. I'm only going to make this place better, So there was a lot of room to expand from the original breakdown. And I really put a lot of time and, research and then interviews and learning private equity, the language and the logic behind how they think. And then I have to say, we have this amazing creative team and really the best comedy writers in the business. And so we had a weeks long rehearsal process where scene by scene we would go through and rehearse, and they would just help craft ideas, and we would all collaborate. And so it was a really collaborative process. And through that, we were able to just learn more about her and expand her and into what, you see today. And then, then you have to walk into an unpredictable environment and respond as her, and anything goes. So it was both terrifying and thrilling to actually do this job. I have to tell you, because, you can't screw up. There's no take two. There's no back to one. There's just
Sure.
you walking in. Yeah. And that my character is so composed and confident. It'd be easier if she was playing like not that confident. Then you're like, great, I can use that, but I can't, so it was tricky, but I'm glad I pulled it off.
we see Elizabeth in black always. Is that a power move to her, or is just her preferred color palette?
I mean, I think it's both. I mean, it's definitely a power move. It creates a consistency, it's simplicity, and it's powerful. Um, Also black to me, they're a colorful cast of characters, right? And they're all in bright colors. Even on the poster, it's like they're colorful, they're quirky. And so she's the opposite. And everything about her presentation is intentional, even down to, I worked with wardrobe and they brought me a bag and I was like, I'd love a bigger bag. Like I want her to have this structured, everything is structured and controlled, right? And the bigger the bag and the more, the sunglasses, the whole vibe, the more of a problem she looks like before she even says a word. And so that's what I wanted to convey. In improv, we say, show, don't tell. So if you can get out of a cyber truck and look intimidating from the get-go, you're doing your job.
I have to say, Claire's comments and pickup lines for Elizabeth were incredible. Have you gotten to see them?
I haven't seen all of them. I did see the big red comment, which I thought was hilarious. We're not hearing her comments when she's doing the
Sure.
documentary part, right? And so I laughed out loud at that. I have not been called big red before, but I'll take it. And, I have to say that storyline between Claire and I evolved while we were filming, actually. In improv, it's yes and so
Oh,
anytime she'd ask me a question, did you try that back in college or whatever, I'd be like, I actually did, or whatever it was she was asking me, it had to be yes. So that sort of side storyline is sort of a creation of our own improv and her brilliance as well. I love Claire. She's amazing. There was one moment that the documentary crew took us aside, the two of us, and were asking us questions. And I just remember her standing next to me, just being like this. I don't know if it's in the final or not, but she was just kind of like a little kid. And I just mirrored what she was doing. I was like, yeah, and so it was a lot of that kind of fun, like just in the moment, what would you do, So yeah, I love her.
there are obviously a lot of scripted out scenarios for the show, but how much is written out and how much is sort of on the fly based on Anthony's reactions?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, what people might not realize is this is a fully scripted show. It is scripted with structure and story beats and story arcs, and all of it, scene by scene, is laid out. You could not pull all of the things off we did if it wasn't fully scripted and meticulously planned. Within that, then, obviously, there's the unpredictable nature of the guy, Anthony, who
Subject.
doesn't know he's on a TV show, which makes it, again, so thrilling. And you have to be so in the moment. You are listening, you are so present, you're reacting, and then you're as your character knowing what you're talking about. And so it is a dance of, kind of like life where you plan it and then it goes however it's going to go. you know? So I feel like it was performance under pressure at the highest stakes imaginable. And I think that's what makes it so fun for the viewers to watch, that we're all reacting in real time to whatever's going on, even though we want to move Anthony along in the story. Anthony, and he's just amazing. We couldn't have asked for a better hero. He is our hero.
Yes. I have to ask about the jousting scene. We see a little bit of how you guys choreographed it there towards the end. What went on? What went into pulling that off between you and Erica?
I mean, you have to understand when they say, so you're going to get whacked, you're doing this jousting scene, you're going to get whacked, you're going to fly through the air, you're going to land, and then you're going to get a bloody nose. And, on a regular job, you'd be like, great, where's my stunt double or whatever, or you would
Where
do
do
the
I get
stunt.
the capsule to?
Yeah, yeah. Look, they would cut, then the hair, special effects would come in and apply the blood. Like it would be an all day thing. They'd shoot it from 10 angles. You'd hang, big deal, right? On this, you got to walk over, do the scene, get the bloody nose, and it has to be in one take and it can't go wrong. Jamie, when I tell you, like my heart was pounding, but I have to just back up and say, we had amazing stunt coordinator who trained us, and we had like fight choreography training, and we learned how to do it and we practiced. We are also it's choreographed in a way where Anthony is literally 180 degrees across where I'm going to fall. So I have to set myself up. I clock him and I know exactly how to set up, and then I fall. And my Trucus team, they have the blood. And so
Okay.
yeah, they have the blood. They initially wanted a capsule in my nose. And I said, if I have to be in charge of this, and for any reason, like I sneeze before we get to that scene, like I did not want to be in charge of like Elizabeth has a bloody nose over on the, in some bounce house or something. I didn't want to do that. So yeah, we have Trucus had the blood, but so they had to apply it. So as we're walking over there, on hearse, and Kate was like, I'm really afraid I'm going to hurt you. I said, Kate, you have to go 100%. Like, you can't half do it. You got to just go for it. I'll be fine. And we're walking over there. I'm like, and Anthony's ahead. And I whispered to her, I said, okay, you know how I told you to go to 100% all week? Maybe pull back like 10% and I'll take care of the rest. Cause now I'm like, I'm about to get whacked in the face. But when it works, which it did, and everyone on there knows what we're about to do, and everyone back in the camera room, all the producers, it's that I get goosebumps thinking about it because the high stress, high stakes of that moment. And when it works and we get whisked off, what the viewers don't see is when we get whisked away in the Escalade and we're, out on Canaan or wherever road, out of an earshot, we are all screaming with delight and high-fiving each other. So we are very excited to pull it off. It's like pulling off a giant magic trick with like 100 people. And it was thrilling. It was thrilling.
I love that you're still calling them by their character name and I'm calling them by their real names.
Well, and there's a fun fact. I don't know if you've learned this by talking to any of the other cast, but we
I
decided
did
this.
see in the documentary you can't like you don't call everyone didn't really meet even beforehand, so you are all calling each other that you literally only are like learning each other's names maybe after filming cut.
Well, here's the thing. Because they are a small business, they all have to know each other. So we did have about 5 weeks of rehearsal. But in the rehearsal from day one, people would say, and we'd all be like, I don't want to know your real name. I can't learn your real name. I just want to learn your character name. And so I still have people in my phone as their character names. Like they will, he'll forever be Steve Mosley and Jackie. Like they'll forever be those characters, even though I know their real names. But because that we knew the stakes were so high, we couldn't screw up. So we didn't want our brain to have to think about what's your real name and your character name. So that's kind of how we chose to do it this season.
Anthony, if you I don't know if you've seen, he says I'm not learning your real like he said I'm not learning your names.
Yeah, yeah,
Not
yeah.
like
We're
you're learning your
Yeah,
name.
it makes sense. He could forever just keep them as Dougie and Doug. Like, come on, I mean, it's a life-changing moment, for him.
Is there a meaning behind the name Trucus? I always wondered that as well.
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, I would say it's a true kiss, of we're here to just put love on your company and take it over in the most truthful way. So maybe there is sort of a intentional when you hear it, it just sounds like true kiss.
There were so many great moments, and certainly filming the evening out with you guys, with your assistants getting hypnotized. What's
Yeah.
going through your mind knowing that all eyes are on you at that moment with what he's saying to you?
Yeah, I mean, Elizabeth is mortified. She has to, as she would in any situation, keep her composure. She has an agenda, and he is ruining it. I want to control the narrative, this character, and now my Trucist associate is revealing way too much, and we're trying to get the sale. My whole goal here is to get the sale. It wasn't to go to a retreat or out to dinner. If she could have done this all on a Zoom call, she would have. But now she's immersed in this, right? She's immersed in the dusty retreat. It's all just like, oh my goodness, what is this going to take? And so it's really about staying locked in her perspective, even in a moment like that. She's observing, she's assessing, she's figuring out, do we need to leave? Like, how do we do this? And Lee and Jean are in, well, especially Lee on stage is in trouble, and he's gonna need a talking to, and he might get a demotion too. At times I have to say it's so hard not to laugh, especially in the hypnotist show, and our job as actors is to, use the improv and the acting and the mental game mastery that you have to work on this show. and stay in character. But at times it was really hard.
Well, speaking of that, I have to ask about Sia's talent show performance. Did any of you in the cast get to spend much time with her talking behind the scenes without Anthony there or
Right.
maybe
Well, I mean, she can't kind of hang out on set long before or after because she's not on set, right? Because so she's
right.
coming in to do a talent show. And I love that we keep it a secret all day and finally, like, oh, because we're all about access. And so here comes, Sia and the giant rolling in her giant rock, truck. Uh, but she was absolutely wonderful. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a more generous and kind and sweet woman. I mean, just such an amazing energy bringing that to the show. And you got to understand, we're standing in a yurt in the middle of Agora Hills with about 14 people, and Sia is doing a concert. Like I couldn't have written this if I tried, So it was just another layer of surprise and really fun to the whole experience. And we loved it. Obviously, PJ got to go off and hang and play dress up a little bit. So, and Anthony too. So they probably got a little more time, but she was amazing. She was just so sweet. And then she got whisked away. So it's not like she came back to hang out later that
Exactly.
night. That was it. That was
It
Sia,
is what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
What you
But we
see
were all
is what
sitting there
we
like, oh, yeah. We all play Unstoppable a lot, or at least I do. I'm like, this whole show is really about being unstoppable, that no matter what scares you, what's freaking you out, what your heart's pounding for, about that, we are all unstoppable, truly. And I hope that's the feeling that people can get when they watch it too. To shout out Sia as well.
A very powerful moment is when Anthony confronts Elizabeth and tries to convince Doug not to sign, and she says, "Are you going to listen to the temp?" And that really seemed to fire him up. How was that moment scripted out for you since so much is dependent on Anthony's reaction?
Yeah, that is another, heart pounding moment. We know it's the end of the show and he's running in. And we know that Dougie's supposed to trip and fall so that Anthony can be the first one in. I don't know if people realize that him falling is part of that he's the first one in, he's the only one in. I added that in the moment because it seemed like the perfect condescending thing to say to see if Doug or Anthony would fold, and I knew I had to push it. And based on just in the moment how he's reacting, and it's that I just added that in the most Trucasy Elizabeth way I could. And I know my job is to be the antagonist and be the villain. And, that is one of those moments where the intention of the scene. You have to stay very open to how it unfolds. And I have one goal in that scene, and it's to close the deal and be done. And I need this guy out of my way. So I got to butt heads with him and test him. And then just storming out of there, we had never rehearsed storming out. We just rehearsed that scene and that was it. And so when I storm out and bust through everyone, some of the cast came up to me later. They're like, "Oh my God, that was crazy amazing," or whatever. So we were all not expecting how that would go. I just went with it. What would Elizabeth do in that moment? That's what she would do.
The moment where Doug doesn't sign felt so Goonies to me. It was like him announcing he wasn't going to sign today or any
Right.
day.
Right.
Did you and Anthony talk after filming to talk about how impressive it was watching him stick up for these people he known for maybe a week
Yeah.
at most?
It's incredible, right? We had a beautiful moment. We hugged at the end. Obviously he's still in shock. And I think with me, I'm the most of the antagonist with him, but I obviously had moments with him where I was able to tell him, like, what you did, shows such humanity and integrity and generosity. And he would be like, "I still don't know about you," but weeks later, now we DM and we text, and, he knows I'm like a mom with 2 kids and that I'm not Elizabeth. And and I actually told him, we watched the first episode and I paused the show when he was talking to Marjorie and talk to my teenage sons about what was great about what he just did. And we paused and used it as a teaching point of how he is when he's uncomfortable, that he pulls someone away, that he speaks up. Like, there's so much to learn from him. And I feel like at the root of this show is shining the light on the goodness and humanity. And if everyone can learn from Anthony of how he's being when he doesn't know he's being filmed, we all could, learn from him about how to be in the world. Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah, right? Come on. And that's what's so beautiful about the show. It's both hilarious, but it's so heartfelt. And I hope people watch all of the episodes because, it really is this roller coaster ride, but with so much heart.
So good. I'm sure people have been reaching out to you so far and telling you what a bitch you are, but in the most complimentary way, I think you should accept that
Yes. Look,
because they've yet to see the onion that is Elizabeth.
yeah, yes. And I love that you say she's an onion because she does have layers. And, I do love you. You want to be the villain people love to hate. So bring it on. I am happy to
You're
step in the
doing your
role.
job then.
Yes, my 5'10" redheaded nature is happy to be the woman in charge. And it was so much fun to play that. And I'm glad that it creates a conflict. It's David versus Goliath. And to be Team Goliath is a thrill.
I'm looking forward to the redheaded cult spinoff that is Trucus.
Yes, you are the second person to say that. The redheaded cult spin up this. Yes, to see where they go and what other companies they might take over. I am here for it. My Trucus
Oh
team, we are ready. Halloween costumes, whatever it is, go Trucus, Team Red, all the way. I have to say, there's something really powerful about being given permission to step into power in that way. I know it turns out to be sort of negative, but it's empowering to have to just play the villain. So go Team Red.
What are the other projects you have coming up here recently?
Everything today is just a giant NDA. So I have something I officially can't talk about, but I love working on projects really that blend heart and humor and meaning. I love when there's a deeper meaning and that the audience can learn something. That I really look to projects that are elevating the consciousness to one of love in this world. That's really what I love working on, even if I play the bad guy or girl. But what's funny is, so on screen, I play this corporate power player, but off screen, I'm actually a small business owner and I help creatives all over the world step into their own power. So I have a global coaching company and my students are in 25 countries and I help them really move through fear and self-doubt and build confidence and pursue their dreams and turn their big dreams into reality. And so I'm actually grateful to be living my own dreams and also helping so many other people do the same. And so that's what I also love to do.
I mean, it costs nothing to dream, and every
Everything not to. It'll cost you nothing to dream and everything not to. And I mean, that really is at the root of it. Whatever your big dream is, anyone watching this, I believe if you have a dream in your heart, you're meant to live it in this lifetime. Even if it's scary, even if you don't know how you'll get there, even if there's roadblocks and setbacks, you just got to keep going and I guess turn lemons into lemonade. So there's my motto.
Well, those are all of my questions. So again, thank you so much, Wendy, for sinking in some time. I gushed a lot, but and I think I asked some pretty good questions about about the entire journey that is jury duty this season, if I do say so myself. But this is just a standout season, and all of you played your part so beautifully in
Mm.
convincing Anthony that this was the world of, this grandma's rock and hot
Yes.
sauce.
Yes.
And he committed to fully loving these people, knowing
Mhm.
them for 5 seconds.
Yes.
And that's so beautiful that there are such trusting, such loving, such 100% yes and people in the
Right?
world without knowing.
Yes. Yes, yes. And I think if we, first of all, I want to thank you for this interview. You're amazing with all the questions. I love talking to you about it and that you're so in depth. It's such a pleasure. And that if people can walk away knowing that and looking for the good people in the world, I think we get what we look for. And if you look for the good people in the world and then be one of the good people in the world, you know, maybe we can elevate the world a little bit. But so thank you so much. It's been a total pleasure. And I love that people are loving Jury Duty presents Company Retreat.